So after you've first done, your first part is to do the relationship graph that you've had with the particular person that you've decided to work on. And then you look at, as I said, the apologies, forgiveness and significant statements. And then from that, there is a formatted letter that you would write out to encompass those. I apologise for whatever it is, and I forgive you for, or will you forgive me for, and then the significant statements like my will not be the same again and this kind of thing. But the key to all of this is at the end of it, you put the words goodbye. Now, when they said that, I thought, sorry, now goodbye to my husband? That's not happening. Think parts language. We were saying goodbye to that part. My hopes, dreams, and expectations. I had to say goodbye to it because it wasn't going to happen. So when I did that, oh boy, did the floodgates open when I put the goodbye. And I actually, the grieving I had then was as deep as the day I actually said goodbye to him.
And for anybody listening who has perhaps experienced the loss of a child, whether it be through miscarriage or whatever other reason, I guess that would be something really important when you talk about hopes and dreams and the ideas that you have for a child's future. It's important to come to terms with things like that.
Absolutely. There is different aspects in the book to go over with specialty stuff like that. I myself have had a few miscarriages, and you definitely do grieve the loss of what you had hoped you would have in that relationship. In fact, these books have come about because one of the authors had lost a child. One had got divorced, so his loss was a break of his marriage. John James and Russell Friedman. And so one of them had not actually met his son, but we have these books because of that unborn child.
And these, we should just clear up, these are the people who actually came up with this grief recovery method.
That's right, yes. It started off in America, developed in the 80s, published in the 90s, and came to the UK in 2014. So it's relatively new in the UK.
And what about children themselves? Because, you mentioned, obviously, you've been through this with having lost your sister. She had young children, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Is there a different way that children should deal with grief, or does it all sort of follow a similar format?
It's the same format, really. It's the language. But what we do is we work with parents and people that are in relationships with those children, whether it be teachers or somebody like that, because obviously they're going to school and they're still trying to work things out. People adults in particular, do tend to start analysing and over-analysing things, whereas children can actually be a little bit more sort of simplistic about things. If we are simplistic with them, i.e. the toy, let the child grieve rather than try and replace it with a biscuit, just let them have that process. And like you would share the happy moments, you share the grief, you share, I'm so sorry to hear what's happened, tell me about it, how are you feeling?
What's your thought on children going to funerals?
I definitely think they should go to funerals to say goodbye, but it has to be the parents' obviously decision. But children need closure, and there's often causes of people saying, I wasn't even allowed to go and say goodbye at the funeral. So even though it seems harsh when, in our case, they were 8 and 11, for them to have to go and say goodbye. But I think it certainly helped them move on. What we didn't do is they didn't go to the crematorium. They just went to the actual service in the church.